Hey y'all, it's Bailey with Reclaim Grays. I'm so happy you clicked on this video. Today we are back to working on Christmas, and I kind of just went towards and was feeling neutral Christmas decor. We are working with some stamps this go around, as well as just some other things, but Christmas thrift flips is the theme. Y'all let me know what project is your favorite, and we're going to get started right now. Our first project for today is one that we actually started on in last week's video. I'm just going to give a quick recap here. I gave it a really good scuff sand. It had some really deep scratches on the top of it, so I was making sure to sand those flat and make sure it's nice and smooth. And I believe I thrifted this for like $1, maybe $2 max. I've had it in my stash for a while. I've given it a good clean with some Windex. I've let it dry, and I am going to prime it with a couple coats of shellac because that is MDF underneath the paint, and we have a lot of that MDF exposed, especially on the top area. One of my favorite things about using the spray shellac is it dries super fast. So now we are going to start getting this ready to paint. I needed to remove these little felt protecting things so we can give it a full paint job. So I'm going to use my heat gun to just warm up that glue and use my little scraper tool to scrape those off. And now we are coming in with DIY paint in the color Vintage Linen, and we're going to give this little stool 2 good coats. As we are getting this stool painted, I wanted to remind you about my memberships. I have 2 available memberships if you are interested. One is called Rescued, the other is Restored, and all that information is linked down in my comments. But the Restored members just got their first monthly video, and I was so excited and a little nervous about making that video, but it came out really good. And I have decided to change it up a bit. Instead of sending out sales data reports monthly, I have chosen to do that weekly. So it's more current of what's actually selling in my booth. And I just feel like that will help y'all a lot better. So if you're interested in becoming a member of my YouTube channel, check down in the description box for more details. After our 2 coats of paint were good and dry, I did lightly distress the piece, but today we are breaking out Sugar Plum IOD stamp. This is one of the new ones, and I have not used it yet. Y'all, there is such cute pieces in this stamp set. I absolutely love the nutcrackers and this little Mouse King stamp. So I needed to use the Mouse King, and he was going to fit perfectly on the center of this footstool. So I'm just inking it up with some black permanent IOD ink. I'm going to get that centered where I want to put it. I'm going to fully commit, and I'm going to be very careful and try not to shift my stamp around as I'm pressing. I'm going to hold with one hand and press with the other. You can peek underneath it to make sure you've got a good impression. Other than that, I gave this piece a 1 coat of like a spray sealer Rust-Oleum matte, and this piece is done. Y'all, super cute and super easy. I priced it for, I believe, $19.95. Our next project is a pretty simple one too. I started with this wood plank, and I was trying to get some paint out of this cashmere fusion, but it has dried up completely. I'm in the process of using up all of my dried paints, and I'm going to put in a big order with my friend Emily at J. Bowen & Company very soon. Very soon. But we're going to add 1 coat to this Dollar Tree wood blank. We are going to be adding some stamping to this piece. I wanted the word Christmas, so I grabbed my Christmas Post IOD stamp. This is another one of the new ones, and I'm going to leave it right on the stamp set and ink up the word Christmas with my black IOD ink. Then I'm going to come in with a baby wipe and clean up any ink that I got on the other stamp surrounding it. And we are going to position that towards the top of our painted wood blank, and I'm going to press that really well, holding with one hand, pressing with the other, and I'm going to pick it straight up. And I did have a little bit of Rogue ink get on my little piece of wood, so I came in with a baby wipe to try to wipe that up, but this ink is permanent, so I just added a light coat over it. Now I'm breaking out ephemeral type. I just wanted some text. This is kind of going to be like a background type. And I'm going to ink up this section right here and very lightly tickle it so it doesn't pick it up, so the impression isn't like super, super clear and it kind of looks faded in some areas. I'm going to heat set this before we go in with our next step. Next, I have grabbed out some numbers from the typesetting stamp. This is an oldie but goodie, and I got 2 and a 5, and I'm going to pick them up with my thin mount so I can make sure they're straight and they're centered on my little plank. I keep on calling it a plank. My little wood blank. There you go. And we're going to ink those numbers up and get these stamped on over that text. I don't know. I'm kind of picturing like a vintage postcard that you kind of see the 2 and the 5 on, and just kind of recreating my own. I'm going to ink up the edges just to add a little bit of age and definition to them with my ink pad. I love this technique so much. So our next element to this project, this is one of those wooden pots that you get in a pack from Dollar Tree in the summertime. And I have a piece of floral foam that I'm just cut to fit, and I'm going to add some hot glue in there and smush down that floral foam and cut it flush with the top. And then here I have a older bottle brush tree. I have so many bottle brush trees in my stash that I'm going to cut the little plastic base off of, add some hot glue to that little stem piece, and we're going to shove that down into the floral foam. Now, of course, it would make sense to have done this before I added the tree, but here we go. We're going to stain that wooden pot with some Waverly Antique Wax. I really like this warm shade that this wax has. I'm going to make sure to get that upper lip as well, just so it's not as noticeable and blends in. But here is the piece we're about to start putting these items into. I thrifted 3 of these antique sewing drawers for $10 a little bit ago, and I want to fill it up and create like a little shadow box. So here is another bottle brush tree I had in my stash. This came from Hobby Lobby during their like 75% off sale like last season. I picked up some, and the little balls were falling off of them, so I glued those back in. I didn't show you that part, but I'm just trying to figure out placement here. I want you to be able to see the word Christmas and the 2 and the 5. So I'm just playing around and trying to figure out placement before I start gluing. And I'm just going to use hot glue. You can definitely get this hot glue off if, you wanted to. If the person that buys this wants to do something else, I'm sure you can get this hot glue off. I took my baby wipe and added a little bit of age to that wood plaque that I used the Waverly Antique Wax on the pot. Just had a little bit on the baby wipe. I just dabbed it up there. And then now I have a piece of like very cheap Christmas greenery. It was missing some pine cones, so I grabbed my little mini pine cone stash that you get from Dollar Tree and just kind of filled that back up. And we're going to get that put in the back like area on the opposite side of our little sign, and then we're going to start gluing our bottle brush trees down. I'm going to place this bigger one in first, and then I'm going to glue down the one we added to the pot. And then I'm also going to take some of those baby pine cones and glue them just randomly in the floor of the drawer. And that is it for this project. I think it is super cute. I love how it came out. It's fun gathering things and making them work together. I wish I would have had like a knob or something to put on top of the drawer. But y'all let me know what y'all think about this one. I priced it for $27. Our next one is some wooden frames and some Temu canvas prints. Y'all probably get tired of me doing these, but they're good sellers and I need to get these done and in my booth for the Christmas season. So both of these canvases I paid less than $2 a piece for them, and the frames were $1 or $2 a piece as well. I'm using Mod Podge to attach my canvas and using my brayer to make sure the canvas is made good contact with my backer board before going over it with another layer of Mod Podge. I absolutely love this forest scene, and I figured it's not really Christmas. It doesn't scream at Christmas, so you could leave this piece out all through winter. So now for one of the frames, we're going to be using milk paint on it, and I've grabbed out my flour sack milk paint, and I'm going to mix this up with 1 part powder to 1 part water. I mixed it actually a little thick, so I didn't have to do 10 coats. And I would only have to do 2 coats. I let that thicken up a little bit, and about 10 minutes later, I am ready to paint my wooden frame. I just received a lot of goodies in the mail, so y'all be sure to hop over to my website. I have restocked on milk paint and I have restocked on a lot of IOD products. So if y'all were looking for something, head over there and check it out. My website is always linked in my description box. After each layer of milk paint, I'm going to come in with my heat gun and really force dry it because I want this frame to have a lot of texture and crackle. Then I'm going to come in with my second coat and do the exact same thing. Here is the second frame, and y'all, I love the wood tone on this piece. So we're just going to start by giving it a good clean with some Windex and a little shop rag. I order these shop rags in bulk on Amazon. They're fairly cheap, and you really can't beat the deal. If y'all are interested in any of my Amazon favorites, that's also linked down in the description box. But I am not going to paint this frame. I'm going to use this Howard's Restore finish in the walnut shade and just give this wood a nice drink, and it is soaking it right up. I'm going to let the product sit on the frame for about 5 to 10 minutes before I come in with a lint-free cloth and wipe off any excess. Now we are jumping back to the milk frame. Oh my goodness, that crackle just got me tongue-tied, y'all. That crackle is amazing, so let's bring it out with some Sweet Pickins dark oil wax. This is one of my favorite things to put over milk paint. I absolutely love the finish. It looks a little scary going on, but just trust the process. It is very easy to apply. Just get it up there in a nice even layer. Let it sit for 5 to 10 minutes and then come in with a lint-free cloth and wipe it back. And it really amazes me how much of this dark oil wax you can pull back on a white frame. It really just works perfectly with milk paint. So don't be scared to use that dark wax over a white painted frame. You will love it if you loved aged pieces. So now we're jumping back to our canvases and our backer boards. I'm cutting off any excess canvas and we're going to start putting these in our frames. I'm going to use one of my most used tools when it comes to making over artwork. This is like a little pointed nailer thing. I don't know its exact name, but it just shoots these pointed tacks into the wooden frames and it secures your artwork inside. I did finish the back of both of these frames by adding some contractor's paper to the back of them with some hot glue, and I sanded off that contractor's paper so it's flush with the wooden frame, and then I added a hanging system to both of them. And that is all for our new and improved artwork. I absolutely love both of them, really, but I think this one is my favorite. Just the colors in that Temu print up next to that wooden frame. Chef's kiss. But I do love that crackle on this Santa frame too. Y'all let me know what y'all think about these. Let me know which one is your favorite down in the comments. I priced the tree one for $37 and the Santa one for $47. Now, this project, don't blink or you might miss it. It is super easy. I have a glass cloche, wooden base, some little miniature deers from Hobby Lobby, and an old bottle brush tree. I picked up this snow text from Hobby Lobby also this year because I don't know, I've been curious about it and want to try it out. So I've never worked with this stuff, but it's very weird texture, but we're going to start slathering it on this wooden base. I'm going to make sure I don't go too close to that little indentation. I'm just going to make a little pile of snow in the center. I debated on letting this snow dry before adding my miniatures, but Mama was standing right next to me and she said it should work like glue when it dries. So she talked me into it. We're going to add the bottle brush tree into that snow text, really smoosh it down in there, and then we are going to add our little miniature deer in front of the tree. I let this dry overnight and everything was in there nice and sturdy. That is it for this project. I left the cloche off in one picture so you could really see what it looks like. You could definitely add some glitter to that snow text before it dries, and that would be really cute as well. I priced this piece for $17. Here is a sign I made over a couple years ago. It's a paint inlay, and I actually built this frame, and I was selling it for $9.95, which is really cheap, and it didn't sell. So it's been in my stash, and I want to redo it. So I'm going to start by giving it a good sand. I have been using it to like pour resin on. So I had like some resin on it that I needed to get sanded off. And then I needed to sand down that paint inlay so it's nice and smooth. The black frame was not as sturdy as I want it to be, so I'm going to shoot a couple brad nails into each joint just to secure it a little bit further. I absolutely love this battery operated brad nailer. Like, I will never go back to the air compressor ones. Those air compressors are loud. Either way, we are cleaned up and I'm going to get this center back portion repainted. I'm going to do 2 coats of just a all-in-one white paint. Being careful, try not to get any white on the black frame. Next, we are going to tidy up that black frame a little bit. I'm just going to add 1 quick coat of black velvet DIY paint, and I'm going to be very careful cutting in around the white paint and try not to make a mess. We are going to be using the nutcrackers from Sugar Plum. This was actually the first project of me using this stamp set. So I need to come in and lightly scuff sand the back of the stamps using a 220 grit sandpaper. This makes your ink adhere better. So it's a really important step whenever you're using a new stamp set. So the 3 of these nutcrackers fit in this sign perfectly, like it was meant to be. So I'm just going to make sure I have those center and where I want them, and I'm going to pick them up with a thin mount, ink up the back of our nutcrackers with some black permanent IOD ink, and we're going to get these babies stamped on our sign. Once our ink is good and dry, I did heat set it with my heat gun a little bit. We are going to add the fine line crackle over the white and stamped portion of our sign. I had a lot of questions last week wanting me to double check that I am using the fine line crackle, not the other one like the classic crackle. Yes, this is fine line crackle. It's the only one I own. So we're going to start by applying component 1 first. We're going to let component 1 fully dry and then apply component 2. As component 2 is drying, I let it air dry for about 15 minutes and then I come in with my heat gun and dry it down the rest of the way because that really enhances the fine cracks. And once you add that component 2, it comes out really, really shiny. But we'll fix that problem in a later step. I'm just not a fan of gloss. Some people are, some people ain't. I'm a matte girly. But now let's bring out the crackle. I'm going to use the Pent Art antique paste. I really want to pick up the gold antique paste. I feel like that would be gorgeous on some ornaments, but this is a gorgeous color too. I absolutely love this antique paste. We're just smearing it on with a little piece of blue shop towel, really pushing it, working it in different directions to find those fine cracks and crackle, and we're going to wipe it off. It wipes really easy off the top of the surface and just stays in the valleys. I left a lot of that process in the video for y'all because I don't know about you, but I really like watching that crackle come out of the piece. But now let's fix the shininess. Here I have some varnish in matte. It separates, so you need to make sure you shake it really, really well before use. There is a marble inside the container that helps with mixing it back up. But we're just going to add 1 coat over the centerpiece and just take down that shininess a notch. I have no clue why, but I switched to Sweet Pickins Top Coat in the matte sheen to seal up the black paint. You cannot use a water-based sealer over the fine line crackle, so that's why I didn't use this product over the center part. I could have used the other one over the black paint, but I just chose not to. Other than that, this project is done, and y'all, I love, love, love it. It is neutral. It is gorgeous. I love the crackle, and I love those nutcrackers. I priced this one for $23 this go around. If y'all are interested in any of the stamps or milk paint you see me using in today's video, you can find all them products down on my website. I wanted to give y'all a little bit of information. Sweet Pickins Milk Paint had a price increase with their products. I am going to wait until the end of Wednesday, so Wednesday night, to update my website. So if y'all are interested in grabbing the paint before the price increased, my website information is linked down in the description box. But that is all I have for y'all today, my friends. I really hope you enjoyed today's projects. Y'all let me know which project is your favorite down in the comments. And if you got any inspiration from today's video, hit that like button. Consider subscribing if you have not already. And I'll talk to y'all in the comments. Bye.